Moving right into it. Up first, we're going to have Steve Drew from Borrego, and he is going to take us through the game of RTO Thrones, Colorado Utilities and RTOs. So let's give him a hand.
Excellent. Game on. All right, so the Venn diagram between the Emmy Award-winning Game of Thrones and Colorado's RTO and utilities is not really strong, but we're going to have a go at it anyway to keep this thing going. There are some common elements we'll see throughout here. So what's an RTO? RTO is essentially an organized effort to go ahead and create a stable transmission environment that delivers energy to customers affordably and reliably. It's organized by FERC, and as you can see here, it's a patchwork quilt across the United States. Each RTO has its own interpretation of all these different rules, but what they do in general is they take care of all customers, commercial, industrial, throughout. You can see the gap where Colorado is. It's not in an RTO. Colorado is also adjacent to what's called the east-west tie, which is essentially the frequencies on the east and the frequencies on the west speak different languages. And there is a series of DC ties in between that translate. That'll come more important later. So what does this mean for us? Colorado, about $230 million a year. And if you join an RTO and we collectively do it together, it saves a lot more money than if you do it independently. And what we have in Colorado are 53 utilities that have to choose an RTO. There was a law put in place last year that said you need to choose by 2030. And we're going to have a series of independent fiefdoms that get to choose and join each one of these. What's the value of having such a thing? Well, really, it's a robust grid. And a robust grid means you can move energy. It's the market maker. Whether you're in DG, whether you're in renewables, elsewhere, it allows you to transport your energy from where you're generating to where it needs to go. It's the new way of thinking, and a robust one's excellent for us. So we're going to take a look at who the choices are. The front two are really Southwest Power Pool, our adjacent member, and CAISO. There's the only two that have raised their hands so far. They're bringing flowers to the door of every utility out here. Southwest Power Pool, that's the easy choice. They're our neighbor, but again, you have that east-west ties, so they really can't flow energy into Colorado from their own area. They have to create their own within here. On a keynote, I got to do Game of Thrones. The Lannisters are definitely the excel in this whole scenario. On the other end of the spectrum, you have California. They really want to come east, but their problem is sovereignty. So under their jurisdiction, only Californians can run the CAISO at this stage, so they're really struggling. So I got to throw some Game of Thrones references here. We have a couple people just lurking out there. One of them is called the Western Power Pool, north of the wall type of scenario. They have not raised their hands, but they did change their name in February from the Northwest Power Pool to the West Power Pool. And you can see here there's an open gap in Colorado. So there's intent to come this direction. There's going to be flowers or frozen flowers coming from that direction. I went ahead and put the Targaryen eggs here because there's a group called the Western Markets Exploratory Group. And this is the, hey, we don't want to join anybody. We want to create an RTO in our own image group. There are some very heavy hitters in here, including Excel, including EPS and others. Essentially, they want to try to explore. We're just looking. But clearly, they're leaning very hard into this look towards an area. And if you're going to put some Game of Thrones reference, here come the dragons. So there you have it. You have Colorado, which has a wonderful load. It has great policies. It's a very attractive state for energy. And you have all these different interests coming our direction. We're going forward. So each one of these entities, all 53 of them, have to choose one. Now, one of the challenges is they don't need to choose one as an entire group. All 53 could choose one of those four or even create their own. And we may end up with a fiefdom of RTOs out there, which may have some impacts as well. Colorado's been very progressive. This was a smart move. The legislature put together the Colorado Electric Transmission Authority to pre-plan ahead of things in 2030. So in that process, it's an entity that actually tries to help set up corridors to deliver renewable energy throughout the state. So in this mess, we've got our savings, the ability to get reliable areas, especially in the rural environments, On the negative side, could be patchwork quilt of a smaller variety throughout Colorado, which would lower the amount of savings. We could have people creating images, RTOs in their own image, which may delay things beyond 3030 as well, 2030. So here we are today, 8 years coming. It may look great for us, much better than the Game of Thrones looked at the very end. But the reality is it does have an impact on all of us as consumers in renewable energy throughout Colorado. Thank you.